Ashley, what's our first email today?
All right, guys. First one up is from I Only Get Likes. I like that name. Captain Marvel has already crossed 760 million worldwide. The movie is also pacing millions ahead of Hunger Games domestically. Sure, there's competition in coming weeks, but it's pretty much guaranteed to cross the $1 billion mark now. John, please keep underestimating Endgame so it can break even more records.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I have underestimated how well Captain Marvel would do. I thought it would open at like 90. It opened at like 150 plus. I still think it's going to have a hard time getting to the billion, but now it's already at 600 or 760 million dollars worldwide after like 12 days, which is ridiculous. So yes, I have been underestimating Captain Marvel. Absolutely no doubt about that. There was even a point actually where I thought there was a chance. I thought that Shazam might actually have a bigger opening weekend than Captain Marvel. But then we saw Captain Marvel at 150 million plus. And so, well, that's not going to happen then. But still, let's keep this in perspective though, guys. Let's put this in context. How big of a deal is this? The film took less than a 55% drop in its second weekend. It dropped to like 54.6 or 54.7, what, something like that. It took under a 55% drop. Let's compare that. And now the film looks like it's pacing to join the $1 billion club, something I didn't think it was going to do. But let's take a look at this. When you compare these numbers to the other films in the MCU that are in that $1 billion club, Infinity War, Age of Ultron, Avengers, Black Panther, Iron Man 3, Captain America, Civil War. Look at this. Captain Marvel has a 54.8% drop from its first weekend to second weekend. Now, we don't know what the total of it's going to be yet. We're going to have to wait till it's done its run. But that compares very favorably to a movie like Avengers Infinity War, which had a 55.5% drop, and it made over $2 billion. Avengers Age of Ultron had a 59.4% drop, and it made $1.4 billion. The first Avengers film took a 50.3% drop, made $1.5. Black Panther was the best drop ratio out of all the Marvel films on the bigger end of the list. With a 44.7% drop, it went on to make $1.34 billion. Iron Man 3 took a 58.4% drop, going on to make $1.2 billion. And Captain America Civil War took a 59.5% drop, ending up at $1.2 billion. Out of all these 6 films, there's only 2 films that had a smaller second week drop off than Captain Marvel did. And that was not even Infinity War. It was the first Avengers movie with the 50.3 and obviously Black Panther with a 44.7. But it had a smaller second week drop off than Infinity War, than Ultron, than Iron Man 3, than Captain America Civil War. That's pretty impressive. That's not bad. It's not mind-blowing, but it clearly puts it on pace and it compares favorably to all the other Marvel films that have gone on to cross that $1 billion mark. That's an important number, I believe, to keep in mind. So listen, Robert, when you're looking at these numbers and you're seeing it made another like almost $70 million on its second weekend, most movies would kill to make $70 million on their opening weekend.
Right.
It's looking like Captain Marvel's going to make more money on its second weekend than Shazam's going to make on its first weekend, which I didn't think that would. I thought Shazam might make more money on its first weekend. How put this in perspective? What's your reaction to this? Like, how does this? Yeah, you totally expected this. I mean, obviously, I didn't. Do you think? And how do you compare this in the context of history when it comes to the MCU? This type of performance.
Well, I read an interesting article that was talking about the second week uptick in the female. Like, me, I've always been talking about how there's this untapped female market for superhero movies, and I said that this is really the second one that women audiences have received in all of human history. And it was interesting. I read an article to that effect talking about how the female audience actually went up the second weekend. People are like, well, the male audience was 61% opening weekend. Well, yeah, because we're dudes and we go to see superhero movies. That's not something that we go to see all superhero movies. That's what dudes do. But to have the female audience and the people, I think traditionally the women that might not be particularly interested in hitting a superhero movie its opening weekend heard word of mouth, especially, again, moms and their daughters, and they go week number 2. And that's why it had such a strong hold. And I think the same is true of movies. Look, Black Panther was your first pretty much black cast, almost completely black cast. First time a superhero movie had been made like that. And traditionally, the members of the Black audience who might not be interested in superhero movies hear from their friends who are, you got to go see this movie. We've never had a movie like this before. And then the second weekend, you get a whole influx of people that aren't necessarily turning out for opening weekends of genre films, superhero movies. They go, they have a good time, and the movie has staying power. And what's really interesting about these Marvel movies that I don't think that our fan community understands, because still people are writing these weird or making weird videos about how Disney bought their own tickets to inflate the price. Craziness. I mean, it's like, who's going to do that? If you've ever worked at a studio, they won't spend $1 without accounting for it.
Please do not dissuade those people, because I want them to keep talking, because I find it endlessly entertaining.
It's crazy. But I do think that, you know, what the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done that has been so brilliant is they are providing basically 4-quadrant entertainment. Now, forget Black Panther and Captain Marvel appealed to audiences that don't traditionally go to these films all the time, but these movies are rousing entertainments. They're providing fun, and they're providing entertainment that you can count on. That audiences, hey, whether you like Captain Marvel and whether it's in your top tier of Marvel movies or your lowest tier of Marvel movies, it's undeniable that these movies are fun. They're providing entertainment. You know, they're popcorn munchers. Some are better than others, but for the most part, I have not been smiling at some point in every Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. And it's so funny to me now that 10 years in, everybody wants to find a way to poo-poo what we're getting. But what we're getting is beautifully engineered, well-done entertainment. And that's what movies are supposed to be.
All right. Well, guys, listen, what do you guys attribute this success of Captain Marvel, its staying power, its small second weekend drop? Jump down in the comment section and let us know your thoughts.